Hi everyone, this is Nick from Whole Latte Love. I'm here with Tracy today.
Hi everybody.
We're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics. These are premium super automatic espresso machines. Tracy and I both have a lot of hands-on experience with them. So if you've got questions, we are going to be giving a demo more or less on everything that these machines can do up here, but we have time for Q&A at the end of the stream. So keep those questions in the comments and then we'll see if we can get to them by the end. Before we get started, I just want to mention that if you've got any more questions about any of these machines, we have a service that we offer called CoffeeCast. I do some of them myself, and that's basically an opportunity for you to sit in one-on-one with a member of our team for an expert consultation on these products. So we can answer your questions, we can do a live demo, really show you everything about how the machines work so you can make an informed purchase, or if you've already got it on the counter and you're thinking, what do I do with this thing? We can maybe help you get started so you've got some great coffee at home.
And the feedback from it's been amazing. If you go look at all of our Google reviews and so forth, people that have been doing the one-on-ones from us really like the attention to detail and really understanding the machines.
And now this is a pretty wild time of year for us. So Tracy, tell us a little bit about some of the subscriber discounts that we've got going on
Absolutely.
right now.
So one of the things you want to do is you want to go to our front page, you want to scroll down to the bottom, and you want to go ahead and sign up. You'll be able to get deals that we're having in real time. We'll also send you our newsletter and anything about new products that are coming in. And we've got a lot of things up our sleeve this holiday season.
That's right. If you think we've shown you everything we've got planned, you ain't seen nothing yet. We've still got some really fun stuff coming soon.
Absolutely.
And this is obviously a stressful time of year, so you may have noticed that our hours have changed. We're trying to be as available as possible. So Monday through Friday Eastern Standard Time, we're available from 9 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. on the phones. And then we also are available Sundays and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. That's for chats and phones as well. But we've got extended hours tomorrow, obviously.
Tomorrow is going to
Friday.
be Cyber
Cyber
Monday. We already
Monday.
made that Black Friday. So Cyber Monday, we are going to be on the phones from 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. So come join us. We're going to be doing all sorts of things. Again, if you're subscribing to our newsletter, you're going to get a whole bunch of different promotions we're running throughout the day and so forth. But yeah, we'll be here live, sitting there, ready to take your phone call.
And so live is really the key word there because we've got live customer service and tech support here, all based in Rochester, New York, where we are. These are our staff who we've trained to be coffee experts who can either help you with consultations, help you get your machines working as well. We've also extended our return policy for the holidays, so that's going to be anything that you buy, either as a gift for someone or maybe something for yourself. You've got until January 15th or within 30 days, whichever is longer. So if you purchased a little bit earlier, you can hold on to that and return it, by the 15th of January next year.
Another thing I just want to point out, don't wait. Things are going like crazy. Inventory is always changing.
Right.
You don't want to be that person calling up going, oh, I can't get it now. When is it coming in next? Just a little side note there.
That's right. You don't want to be missing out on some of the great opportunities that we've got. So let's get started though. Tracy, this is a machine that we're both pretty familiar with. We've got one, you've got one at home obviously.
I do have the Gaggia Academia at home. This is the newer model that came out. What I like about it the most is if you look at the finish on this. This is really unique and one of the only ones on the market. It is a black glass finish. And not only is it really appealing to the mind, but it's jam-packed with all sorts of different programmability. You can actually make 19 different customable drinks on just this one machine.
That's right, and so that's with 4 different user profiles as well. So not only do you have access to the 19 drinks that are available, and let me actually demo that for you. We've got our main menu here, and we can just scroll through. So we have the drinks pre-programmed. To your point, Tracy, beautiful black glass facade on here. This is probably the best touchscreen I have ever used on an espresso machine. So as you can see, we can scroll through just by touching the screen, or you have the rotary knob here that lets you make additional selections as well. Then the play button is going to brew a drink right from this screen if we want. So Tracy, I think you and I both are pretty big coffee drinkers. Go ahead and tap that for me.
Correct.
And you can see that obviously now we're in our programming screen. If we like our programming, we can save it to one of the 4 different user profiles. But drinks can also be changed on the fly, which is great if you've got guests. I know you and I both do a lot of entertaining.
We do.
So let's see, Tracy, show me, you drink a lot of coffees. Let's make this one a little more to your liking.
Well, I'm going to bring up the aroma, Nick, because you know I like my coffee strong. So I've got the aroma up there. And now I'm going to get ready to brew myself a coffee. Now the other thing is too, you can see here I'm able to customize the amount of ounces. I'm going to actually make it a little bit longer, which is also how I like it.
So the aroma, for those of you who aren't aware with that terminology, that refers to the amount of ground coffee that's being used in the shot. So the Gaggia Academia, as a super automatic, is going to grind and brew your espresso fresh for every drink that you prepare. And aroma ranges from 6.5 grams of coffee all the way up to 11.5 grams of coffee. Other features, we've got programmable pre-brewing, temperature as well, so these drinks are hot, but they are ready to drink as soon as they're done brewing. We also have a flow control knob. That's something that's really unique on Gaggia's espresso machines. That's located right on the front of the machine. This knob changes the back pressure for your extraction, so you can slow that down for extra rich shots, or you can speed it up if you want a lighter bodied brew. Now, Tracy, what did you just do there? You canceled on the fly, which is something you can do with these machines where at any point during extraction you can stop. So in this case, we were getting a little close to the danger zone in that cup.
We were getting to the part of the danger zone.
And so you might notice we need a little bit more water in the machine. That's one of the things I think that's so nice about these premium machines and their interfaces, is it makes it so much easier to actually maintain the machine and to keep track of all the things that it's asking you for. So on the Academia, at any point, if it needs your attention, you're going to know exactly what it is that you need to do to get brewing again. And so we have been brewing a lot, so we needed a little bit more water. That's going to clear as soon as we're done. Now, just going over a couple more things, this is the only made in Italy machine that we have up here, and the entire housing is actually made out of metal, which is incredibly rare on a super automatic machine.
And another thing I want to mention, Nick, is the thing about this is it also can do tea. It can do both black tea and green tea, which are different temperatures, and that's a little bit different from some of the other machines that you're going to see, especially when you got tea drinkers within the house. And the other thing is too, with having the steam wand here, you can also dispense hot water. In my house, kids used to make oatmeal with the machine and so forth. It's just a lot of different things you can do, which are kind of fun.
I have definitely made some oatmeal here in the office too for a quick breakfast, so I'm a big fan of the hot water features on there. So I think that's it for the Gaggia Academia. This is the black version, but there is also a brushed stainless version as well that substitutes out these black panels with a brushed stainless panel instead, but you still do have the black glass along the top for the touchscreen.
Exactly.
So I'll wake up our next machine here. This is the Jura J8 espresso machine in Midnight Silver. This debuts a few different features that are really brand new for Jura at this. This is kind of their mid-range. You'll notice we've got mostly just Juras left here. We've got mid-range, premium, and super premium. So the J8 features a touchscreen. That's something that was carried over to it from the Jura S8. So I like to think of this machine as sort of an S8 that's got some more going on that makes it a bit more exciting. So the touchscreen obviously is just a very useful feature, not quite as, I would say, intuitive as the one on the Gaggia Academia, but very easy to use still. And you can see this little S icon that's located next to our drinks. That stands for sweet, and that refers to the sweet foam system. So we've got a little bottle of syrup here. The sweet foam system is a milk frothing attachment that will let you blend milk in real time with a syrup of your choice for a true infused, sweet milk drink, basically.
Exactly. And we actually were able to see this machine debut when we were over at Jura's office and so forth. So it was interesting to see. Not only can you use a pre-made syrup, but we also, if you see some of the short videos that we've done on our website, we actually made our own syrups to put inside.
That's right. Brian, our director today, had a great recipe, I think, that he gave us for syrups as well. One thing to note just for the syrups too is you need something that is a syrup. Like a thick chocolate sauce isn't going to mix well. Yeah. So it does have to be kind of a nice syrup like this one. Just a few other features that the J8 introduced. It's something called Coffee Eye. So I'll use this picture to demo, but basically there's a sensor underneath the spout, and it will change the drinks that are actually being demoed on the screen for you because the machine knows where you've put your cup. So just a little kind of intuitive feature there. And then before I brew a sweet drink for you, I'll demo one of the other features. So we'll push and hold on our touch screen, and that's going to get us right into the programming menu. But under our product settings, the J8 has also introduced the ability to change the consistency of the grind. So that's something that we've seen on the Z10, obviously. On the J8, this is going to be done manually, but before you start brewing, you can actually open up in the back. We've got our grind selection in the back there for the grinder. And what you can do is you can adjust that dial right before you brew. So we have mild set for the sweet latte, but because a latte is going to be an espresso drink, what I want to do is actually change that to fine so that when we grind here, or intense in this case, let's say, so that when we grind for our sweet latte, we'll get a little bit more of that coffee flavor. And just like on the Gaggia Academia, you can see we've got the ability to adjust our coffee strength, which again is referring to the dose of coffee in grams. We've got milk options as well. Jura again measures milk in seconds and not in volume, just in case you froth different amounts. We've got milk versus milk foam on Juras as well. Volume, that's going to be our coffee, and then temperature will be high. So I'll demo the sweet foam system, Tracy, and then you'll have to tell me if this is as good as you could get maybe at the drive-thru or at your favorite cafe.
Sounds good.
I'll tell you what, go ahead, press the sweet latte. So we are, again, just like on the Gaggia Academia, being shown, hey, you got to make sure sweet foam system is on before you get started. And then also it indicates which position to have the frother. The J8 does have a variable foam milk frother that can do both hot milk or milk foam. We took a little too long, actually, so we're going to go ahead and just fast forward this time. On the Juras, you can make adjustments to your coffee strength as well during grinding. One thing to note is that Jura's espresso machines use conical steel grinders, so they do tend to be very fast. So it's much better to program your drinks ahead of time rather than on the fly. Thank you, Tracy. You saved
You're
my
welcome.
cup there for a moment. And then we're going to get the sweet foam system in action. And so again, that's really cool because we're blending our syrup with our milk as the drink is being prepared. We're heating right up.
And it's so cool when you can actually see it going inside of there mixing together.
It's very cool. I think from a visual perspective even, this is really great. And the machine comes with 2 of the sweet foam cartridges as well. So if you have a couple of guests over, you can serve one, maybe mix and match with a different syrup as well. So Tracy, here you go. There's a caramel sweet foam latte. And so sweet foam too is interesting because you're not
that's really good,
mixing that foam, or you're not mixing the syrup with the coffee first. You're actually mixing it with the milk, so that actually the whole foam, the first thing you're getting is a hit of that flavor from that syrup, which is really nice.
Very good. And it goes without saying though too, Nick, this is the unit you're going to want to make sure you clean. You don't want to leave that sitting in there with all the sticky syrup and so forth.
That's absolutely right.
You know, when you talk about maintenance of machines and things, it's an awesome feature, but you want to make sure you're cleaning that out and keeping it up to date.
And one thing that Jura does pretty well as far as that's concerned too is they do have these caddies now that they're starting to include with machines. The J8 comes with this one as well, and it's basically a self-contained milk cleaning system that connects right to the spout here. So you're activating your cleaner and then you're siphoning it up through there to make sure that everything gets cleaned properly. Jura does sell milk cleaning tablets that dissolve right in water, and they'll take care of that in a jiffy.
Now another point is when you look on our website, one of the other things that we have kind of separates us from the competition is our bundler. So when you get in there, those items will be available also to purchase, and you can get discounts on those when you do them. Really important. It's kind of like, you know, when you get that car for Christmas and it doesn't come with the batteries. You want to have everything included. So make sure you're getting those filters. Make sure you're getting your cleaning supplies. There's nothing more devastating than turning on a machine one morning you've got an icon telling you it's time to clean.
Jura, they're very strict. So if you don't clean these machines, eventually they lock down. You can't brew anymore, and that's no good if you're
So make sure you put those things in the bundler.
That's right. So we'll move on now to our Jura Z10. So that was our J again in Midnight Silver. This is the Z10, and this is in aluminum white. So there are actually 3 different colors on this machine. Aluminum white has white plastic housing on the top, the sides, and on the back. And then on the front, it has a concave and convex aluminum paneling. Jura was very proud of that. I remember when we got to watch the demo video for this. But the Z10 is sort of the most recent in Jura's Z series of espresso machines, and the big thing that it debuted actually is the cold extraction process.
Correct.
So this machine has 2 thermoblocks in it. You can do a lot of different types of milk drinks. That's all terrific, but the cold extraction process, again, is going to be the thing that really sets the Z10 apart. And so the way that it works is just like on our J8, we'll go into a drink here. You can see I've already got a cold brew ready to go. If we push and hold, we can actually set our consistency of grind, and on the Z10, they're going to adjust the grind automatically. So that means that every time that you're preparing a drink, you're going to actually have the grind change on its own rather than you having to do that on the J8. So why is that so important for something like the cold brew? Well, for a cold extraction, you do want a more coarse grind, and we'll demo that because what's going to happen is the coffee initially gets hit by a quick pulse of water that kind of wakes up everything and gets ready for extraction. And then once that's done, you'll have a very slow extraction to follow. And, oh, thank you, Tracy. All right, we're going to hit back, though. I like my consistency of grind right where it is. Product settings, I'm going to go to volume. We're going to go down to maybe 6 ounces or so. It's a swipe there. Hit save. So the cold brew's terrific, especially if you're spending a lot of money, like I said, at the drive-thru or at a shop. You're going to get nitro cold brews or things like that. We've got solutions where you actually can make all of that stuff right at home, but I'll demo the cold brew right now, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's going on. But the Z10 is really a phenomenal machine. Not only do you have cold brew, the self-adjusting grinder, you have a feature called parallel preparation, where with the dual thermal blocks, the machine can actually dispense espresso and milk at the same time. And now if we listen, there's a pulsing that you can hear. That's the cold extraction process. So we've bypassed the water that's going through the boiler now and our running water just straight from the reservoir instead. What that's doing is it's using that reservoir water to brew so that we're not melting all of our coffee.
And we're not using that heated water coming out.
That's right. So that's the difference really between this with cold extraction and then an iced coffee, right? Iced coffee, hot coffee over ice, melting it, you're getting iced coffee. Cold extraction, sure, are we getting a little bit of milk? Yes, but the water that's being used to brew is not being heated anymore.
Yeah, you can see that most of the ice is still intact as it's going through.
Ice is still intact, and you can just see the slow dripping. That's that slow pulse through the extra coarse coffee. Now, again, let's just say we're all done here. But I'll give that a sip. So this is going to be some crema wave over ice. We've got crema wave, I think, in all of these. Tracy, you and I are both big fans of crema wave.
Love crema wave. It's what I use at home and so forth.
Now, let me give this a sip. And that's really just got that nice, smooth, kind of malty flavor.
I remember trying
that you'd expect from a cold brew coffee. You don't have the kind of harsher acidity or more burnt flavors that you would get when you're chilling a hot brewed coffee. And now on the Z10, if we want to go into our specialty menu, we also have the ability to do extra shots, let's say, into our milk drinks like a cappuccino. We can do a ×2 beverage, or we can use pre-ground coffee. One thing that I do want to mention is that on the Gaggia Academia, you can more or less do an extra shot into any drink using the new coffee boost feature that it has too. So that's something on Jura. They typically offer that on their milk drinks. You'll see it indicated by a little bean icon.
Yep.
On the Academia, though, with Coffee Boost, that was something I think that kind of made all of our heads spin when we first saw it.
Exactly, because
you're basically just like dividing your drink up across a big extraction. Let's say you're doing 8 ounces, right? You might take the first like 6.5 ounces, brew through one shot, then it grinds and brews again for that boost. So
no, it's really cool. Another thing to point out too on the Z10 is just that attention to detail. One of the things that when we were there at their showroom and so forth is look at the water tank. It's just like each element is something that brings something extra to the machine. It's a piece of artwork on your counter again.
That's
so
right.
It's really interesting.
We are looking at obviously around a $4,000 price tag, but to your point, that is where some of that attention to detail comes in. And one thing I do want to note too is that the aluminum white, that's the model we're seeing, is the only version of the Z10 that does have the metal on the front. The diamond black and the diamond white actually have a more textured plastic. It's the same as you would see on the Giga10 that we'll get to. But just a few other last things to note about the Jura Z10. We do have the ability to interface with the machine using the Jura J8 app by default. So this machine is going to come with a transmitter so that you can connect your phone right to it. That's going to be the same with the Giga10. You do need to purchase that as a separate accessory if you wanted to use that feature on the J8.
Correct.
Alrighty, I think, are we ready maybe for the big daddy here?
The big
Giga10?
daddy. Absolutely. And the first thing you notice is what?
Well,
dual bean hoppers.
We got 2 times the grinding action here. We've got 3 times the screen. That math somehow works out to 10. But, you know, the 10 is more a reference to the Z10. So the previous machine was the Jura Giga6. The Giga10 features the same cold extraction process as the Z10. So that's where that name comes from, right? And we have all of those beverages. So the Giga10, though, is kind of a unique machine because Jura went for, I would say, maybe a more intuitive approach to programming and things like that. So I believe there are over 30 different beverages that you can make using this machine that are pre-programmed into the menus. And so that refers to things like iced versions of drinks and ×2 versions of drinks as well. But this machine really, if you want to do any of your programming, you'll start to notice that you're going to see something in this interface that maybe looks a little bit more like you'd expect to see at a cafe or a coffee shop, for instance, and not so much you know, how you would see it on other machines where you've got all kinds of numeric variables. So the first thing, though, that we're going to notice is obviously one of the things that we're looking at is the ability to select an amount of coffee from between the 2 different grinders. Now, on the older Gigas, a lot of times people would do 50-50 blends, let's say, because they wanted to be able to make a half calf, right, where they've got half decaf coffee and then they've also got half regular coffee. On this machine, one of the things that Jura recommends is that you might have one grinder that's set up for your cold extractions and then another grinder that you have set up for your hot extractions. So you can see I've got one that's named cold. In this case, since it's our coffee, we're brewing 100% out of that grinder. So if I wanted to go in now and then go to my pre-selections, I could say let's make this a cold brew, and it will use 100% of the coffee from that left grinder, which is going to be my cold grinder. Now, going back into our other settings, though, we'll just say yes, because we'll make a cold extraction at some point. We're actually looking at this drink now in terms of sizing. So we have extra small, small, medium, large. Really what I would recommend if you're new to the Giga10 is that you're going to want to actually try the drinks as Jura has them pre-programmed. See which ones you like and then start customizing. There are so many different options that you can use with this machine that you really want to make sure that you're actually just giving them a try first before you kind of go in and experiment. That would be my first bit of advice. So Tracy,
there was
you were
a lot
say,
there. There was just a lot when we started going through it. So to your point, getting to know it a little bit, playing around with it, I think is a really good point.
And so with these hoppers too, again, we can blend in 25-degree increments between the left and right. So if you are not, you know, let's say you don't necessarily care as much about cold brew, you can do that half calf. You could take 2 different single origin coffees, let's say, and blend them.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, on a super automatic, that's a feature that really I don't think you really see is these dual hoppers. They're fully removable too, which makes it very easy to take the beans out. And I used a Giga, actually. I was just helping Tracy. Her daughter just got married, and I was pulling duty as a barista there, and I had a Jura Giga machine helping me out with that. Great for entertaining. You know, if you have big events a lot, you like to host, and you've got room in the budget and on your counter, the Giga10 is really probably the best choice.
Something I want to point out as we look at our range here that we're presenting, one of the things that's also unique in regards to the Gaggia is the fact that it does have the steaming, where you can actually steam alone. And then this also does have a carafe, so it can be a one-touch milk drink just like the other machines that you see here. But you don't really see a great frothing wand on a super automatic, so you don't have to worry about could I do latte art at home and have some fun with it. You actually can with this, and that's one of the things I liked about it.
And I mean, the steam wand is like the ultimate tool when it comes to making any kind of drinks, because you'll never get better milk foam than what you could produce using a steam wand. And so the Academia, you may not see a cold brew function on the screen, but basically you could brew an iced Americano, you could do an iced Aerocano where you're actually using the wand to froth ice together. You're adding some of that volume for a creamier texture with the drink. So really having a wand is going to give you so much control just over what you can do with your coffee. It's really unbelievable.
Exactly.
So let's check with our moderators. Do we have any questions from the audience?
We do actually. So one big question here comes from Andros, who's asking, how do the grinders on these machines differ from standalone units?
From standalone units, I guess, does that mean from a standalone grinder, let's
Yeah,
say?
let's look at it from the perspective of a semi-automatic and a standalone grinder versus a fully integrated super auto grinder.
So that's a very good question. So on a super automatic espresso machine, all of these grinders feature stepped grind adjustment, meaning that there's fixed movement of the burrs, so they can only move so many positions, and it really depends on the model. Some units, let's say from Jura, for instance, would have maybe only 6 different grind settings, and then on some of the Gaggias, you're getting as high as, I believe, 10 or 15 grind settings. The Academia here has a set of ceramic burrs. It's a ceramic disc grinder, and then we have conical steel on both the Jura J8 and the Z10, and then we go back to ceramic discs again on the Giga10. Now, that range is going to be limited primarily toward being able to brew the kinds of drinks that these machines make most often. So either fine for your espresso drinks, or if you want to make a long cup of coffee, we have that question so often is, can they make a cup of coffee? They absolutely can. You may prefer a more coarse grind so that you have a lighter extraction. Anything else?
Yeah, one more question on these is who provides service and support?
So that's another great question, Andrew. So with Gaggia, we actually provide support directly. So if you have any questions or issues with your machine, reach out to us, and our in-house staff will work with you to get your issue resolved. Jura does do all of their own support and troubleshooting for their machines, so you would work with their support team if something happened down the line.
That's it for questions. Anything else, Sam? We got a couple of seconds left.
Yeah,
We can
probably got
describe
another
some more things.
3 minutes if we can. If we have any other questions. Otherwise, we could maybe do a demo of some frothing, perhaps on the Academia. I can do a little
Sounds like a great
milk
idea.
frothing demo here. So let's get ourselves a pitcher, and we'll get a cup, and we'll see if I can do some latte art.
Oh, this would be fun.
Putting myself on the spot here, but yeah, we'll get our nice. These are the not neutral. This is the Vero cappuccino glass. I'm going to give myself a little bit more volume. Tracy, actually, go ahead and brew me up an espresso real quick.
Okay, I've got that. And we need more beans.
All right, looks like we need just a few more beans. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to pull a shot real quickly on the Jura.
Okay.
And then I'm going to steam on our Academia. And give me a sec, Tracy. I'm just going to reset the... My sensor not checking the coffee here. Okay. Looks like just having an issue with the sensor on this for a moment. I'll just recycle that for a sec. And then we'll do some milk frothing real quickly. Alrighty.
So I could have you
there
sing a
we are.
song at this time, but that probably won't be good.
We might need a little song, Tracy. We're going to do a quick rinse.
Well,
And
at
then
least you
really-
see everything you do for the setup, so.
That's right. And so now we're going to see, just with frothing on these, it's really going to be a very similar experience just to frothing on a traditional espresso machine. I would recommend, let's just stop rinsing. We do have a purge button, which is really nice. So if you have time, I would always recommend just doing a quick purge of the wand first just to get your condensation out of there before you start frothing. But we'll go back to our main menu here, and we're going to go to Steam. And I'm just going to get started. And this machine heats up to steam temperature really quickly. This is a 12-ounce frothing pitcher from Revolution. I recommend using a smaller pitcher. This machine will do much better if you're making froth for one drink at a time. So use it more as like a precision instrument, let's say. And let's just go right on ahead and get frothing. I've got a bit of an angle in here, and maybe we can get a camera on. There we go, perfect. And we're just about heated up. And then we'll hear the machine in just a second as we start frothing. And there we go. And with just an angle there, I'm able to introduce some circulation in that milk just to get my froth nice and incorporated. And there we go. Yeah, perfect. And I'm going to get it just hot enough. And so now we're going to really show off our camera setup here. Let's get the overhead cam, and let's top this off with some latte art if we can. And let me know when I'm ready to pour here. You're good. All right, perfect. So my latte art skills are not amazing, but we're just going to see how I did.
Very nice, Nick.
For a super auto too, right? And that's the big thing is, obviously if you're looking for a real machine that can really imitate what a barista is capable of at home, you might want to consider a prosumer espresso machine instead. But for a super auto that can brew drinks on demand, it's really tough to beat something like that steam
And
line
it's
on
fun.
the Academia.
It's fun to be able to do it.
Fun. Alrighty, well thank you so much for joining us. Tune back in at 1 o'clock. We've got our next segment, which is going to be prosumer dual boiler espresso machines. Tracy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Nick. It was a pleasure.
It was a blast. Take care, everyone. See you again soon.